All right. Good morning, brothers and sisters. Here we go. We are in First Peter 5. The verse that stood out to me this morning was verse 2. And for a particular reason, again, remember, I'm not a pastor, preacher, teacher. I don't have a degree. This is not scripted. There's no notes. You hear it as I hear it, and I'm just sharing as the Lord shares with me. So forgive me if I do use words wrong. I don't speak proper English, so those who know me know me. You know where I'm coming from. You know where my heart's at when I do this. So here we go. 1 Peter 5, verse 2. Peter writes, "Shepherd the flock of God which is among you, serving as overseers, not by compulsion, but willingly, not for dishonest gain, but eagerly." And Peter goes on to the next verse of how to do it. And it's not really the interpretation that gets me, it's the application portion of it again. And as I share with you, I'm not going to share with you interpretation. I'm going to be sharing with you the application portion, how I can apply it daily. Forgive me. Hazelnut. Like hazelnut. The word that stood out this morning was shepherd. And the sentence was, shepherd the flock which is among you. Whew, my flock has changed a lot. And the word shepherd, as I think this morning, as shepherd the flock. I failed many times as a shepherd, not understanding what a shepherd does. Being a city boy, a man from the city, you ain't got no sheep out there, Ain't no sheep. The word sheep it has no meaning out there. We know what cheap is. Cheap, like Mexicans with their accent, everything's pretty cheap. That food's cheap. Don't know why I said that, but we don't hear sheep, we hear cheap, or if something's cheap, we call it sheep, but that's LA lingo. My mom says like that. I mean, that's pretty sheep. And I'm like, anyway, sorry, not a pastor. All right. But coming to the Midwest, you see shepherds, you see, sheep herders, you see stuff like that, and to shepherd the flock. I mean, and this morning, as I think about this new flock that God has given me to shepherd, what does that consist of? What does that look like? And a shepherd is someone who protects the flock, protects the herd. They protect them from physical threats, which can be, wolves, bears, predators. And they protect them from dietary threats, which could be poison, poisonous grass, poisonous roots, whatever it may be. And the shepherd's job is to go before the sheep and scope out. He's the point man. He scopes out the layout. What would be perfect terrain for these sheep to graze? Something that's not with cliffs, something where they can't get stuck in crevices and fall in the cracks and die. Because if one goes, they all go. You know what I'm saying? Like sheep to the slaughter. Man, they just follow each other and they all just, off the hill or whatever it may be, the cliff. And it's a shepherd's job to not only walk ahead of them beforehand as the sheep are grazing back here. It's his job to go in front of them and then search out a safe environment for them where they can graze peacefully and safely, where there's no threats. And then when they're done for the day, the shepherd brings them back to the original place where they can bed down. They bed down in the same place every night, in a safe place. And as you look at that, I think about that. A shepherd's job is to lead, is to protect, is to oversee, is to ensure the peace and safety amongst the flock. Because when you have a good shepherd, the sheep are at peace because they trust the shepherd. And a good shepherd knows how to keep the sheep in line, and he knows the state of his flocks. He knows the state of his sheep. Oh, that one looks sick, or that one's the fleece is pretty dirty, or that one's a little rebellious one, you know what I'm saying? He understands because he's watching. He's observing. He's not looking at the world and paying attention to what's going on in the world. He's paying attention to the environment that these sheep are in, and he's looking ahead of him, being aware of the world, but not making that his focus. His focus is the flock. As I sit here this morning and think about that, and now the application portion of it, as I do the rundown in my head, as a shepherd, spiritual shepherd amongst a new flock, it is my job to make sure that the flock that I'm shepherding is taken care of. That not only do I lead by example, but that I get up earlier than all of them and get into the word, and then the example's set already. Leading, getting up and praying before they get up, reading before they get up, blessing them as they move around, interacting with them in a blessed manner in the spirit, walking in the spirit. And, making sure that there is proper nutrients within their body, spiritually, physically, whatever they put before their eyes, mentally and emotionally, whatever they put in their ears and whatever they're hearing, listening to. It's my job to make sure that these sheep are taking in healthy stuff. You think of the fleece on a sheep, a sheep's fleece has to do with several things. Not only are they in a good environment due to the shepherd's provisions, but it's dietary too. So when you look at, people at church, or you look at believers, with obesity, or just all these different things going on in the body, you can tell that they're not getting the proper nutrients at home. The shepherd, the overseer, the father or the mother, or both of them, are not really doing a good job shepherding the flock. And I actually apply this to maybe children in marriage. If a kid is super overweight, the parents aren't watching. They're not really shepherding the flock right. The diet is off. If the kids are too skinny, the diet's off. They're not being parents. They're just shoving them snacks and whatnot. If a kid is anxious and depressed, the parents are not providing a good, safe spiritual environment for them. If a kid is always shaking and jittery and all that, they're not getting spiritual nutrients because the parents are not walking according to God's will in the spiritual realm. The shepherds are not shepherding the flock. They're not going out there and taking care of their sheep. They're not watching what they watch. They're not paying attention to what they're listening to. They're not paying attention to what they eat. Just letting them roam the range free in danger. And they're absorbing all these poisons and running into predators and all these different things. So the sheep get anxious. If you ever see a sheep, a flock, a herd, they're nice and peaceful when the shepherd's there and there is no danger. But anxiety in the sheep, they get anxious moving around because they sense a threat. Same thing with children. Children get anxious or depressed because they sense a threat. They get anxious because they sense a threat, and then they get depressed because the threat was never taken care of. So what happens? They don't trust the shepherd, you see? And now they know that they're already prey, and they're sad because no one cared enough for them to protect them. Hence depression, you see? So, and again, this is just for me, the application portion of it. As I look as a shepherd, shepherding the flock, the state of the flock, if they're at peace, if they have a nice coat, if they're grazing and they're safe, it's because the shepherd has done a good job. Now, if you apply that spiritually, same thing. If you wake up, you'll know if you are walking in the spirit and leading in the spirit. Leading, not bossing them. You're not, like it says here, not lording over them, but he's like, and not serving as an overseer, not by compulsion, but willingly. Not forced to do it, but wanting to do it. Overseeing, not telling them what to do, not bossing them around, not making them or forcing them. Children, I think it's in, let me back this up. Solomon, and I believe it's 1 Kings, might be chapter 8 or 10. When the Queen of Sheba comes to visit him, because she heard all the stuff that this guy is a wise man. He got all these different things. God has blessed him, his good looking cat and all that. She's like, let me go check this fool, see what's up. So she gets down there and Solomon shows her everything, all the different beasts of the world, all the gold they got, the treasuries, everything, even the servants, everything. Everyone's just completely adorned in gold and just like, and they're at peace. And the Queen of Sheba is sitting down having dinner with Solomon, King Solomon. And she just looks at him like, man, you know what? That's what's up. She goes, you are a man. You are as they say you are. You are who they say you are. She goes, even your servants are at peace. A servant, you see. And I'm butchering that verse, but she's like, wow. She goes, you must be filled with the Spirit and your God must be Yahweh. And you are definitely favored because even your servants are at peace. You see, so you'll know if you are shepherding the flock properly unto the Lord because your children will submit willingly. They will not be anxious or depressed. They will not be obese. They will not suffer from other things. They might get different sicknesses, yeah, but that's just the world. But the state of your flock, you show me a picture of a family, and you can see the state of that family. You can see the leadership, the reflection of that leadership is within the kids. You see what I'm saying? If they're not laughing and they're not filled with joy and peace and love, then their leadership is not. They got a boss. They got a religious boss, not a spirit-filled leader. You see what I'm saying? And it's just like they're doing it because they have to, not because they're God ordained and led in the Spirit. So, brothers and sisters, this morning, as I think about this, and as God's showing me to shepherd the flock, and with true understanding, shepherd the flock with love, with joy, with peace, with goodness, with kindness, meekness, gentleness, and self-control, leading them in love, willingly leading them, being that example to them, bringing that peace of God with me and pouring it onto them. So I'm sorry, I'm just getting 11 minutes. Brothers and sisters, I love you. I hope this makes sense. But this is how it ministered to me this morning, how to shepherd the flock. At 48 years old, finally learning how to shepherd the flock biblically, decently and in order, spirit-filled, and sober. Brothers and sisters, I love you. Peace be with you. May the joy of the Lord be your strength. Remember, choose wisdom over the world. God bless.